Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Choi, and my guest today is Adam at Radical Toys.
Hey everyone.
This is sort of exciting for me because we're doing some of Adam's original art today, which I have not. I've done shorts with Adam's art before. We've done a few collaborations, but this is the first time on a live stream I'm getting to do some original art. So that's pretty exciting. So before we sort of get started and do all the technical stuff, Adam did a couple sketches. I'm going to try to get as many as I can done today. But I thought before we would walk through all of these sketches so that everyone can see sort of the work he did. Because I think I only put the one I'm starting with on my community tab. So I didn't put the others up. If you're interested in these sketches, contact Adam. I bet he would be happy to figure out a way to get you some of these sketches. So we're going to start. This is the one Adam's going to color today. We'll start with anyhow. And it's Princess Allura in her helmet. Was there anything you wanted to sort of tell us about this sketch, Adam? Like, I don't know how much you want to talk or.
It was the first one I believe I did because it's, Princess Allura has always been my favorite character. She's also my first crush, so it was a given that I was going to draw her first.
Excellent.
And I always liked the helmet version of her. I don't know. I've always liked it more than without the helmet.
Yeah. Well, it's a very sleek design, so.
Yeah. I thought the original designers did a really good job with her.
All right, and then the next one I've got is Pidge. So.
Yep, I like that one too. I like Pidge because I usually it's weird because if it wasn't for Allura, Pidge would be my favorite character because I usually tend to aim towards geek characters. So like Ninja Turtles, it would be Donatello. He's my favorite, right? So things like that. So he appeals to me.
Okay. It's pretty cool. It's also a pretty classic pose I've seen in a couple some of the official art. So it's pretty cool that way. Sorry, still admiring it. Now we have Hagar, who is one of my favorites, but also ironically, and again, is in line with my interest, one of the few female action figures in the 80s. So yeah, she's pretty cool.
Pretty neat. Well, when I was drawing that one, I actually was watching the cartoon, so because I couldn't remember the details on her face and stuff, what she looked like. So I looked at a scene in one of the episodes, and I just drew it.
Nice. Well, it came out really good. I hope I get to this one today, but if not, this one will definitely be a short. And that is the thing. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna try to do as many of these as I can in the stream. But anything left over, I'll turn.
I'm probably going to ink this.
Oh, nice.
Right.
And then
I'm gonna ink this, and then I'll color it.
Excellent. And then this is the one I'm gonna start with today, and this is just Allura without her helmet. And I picked it because. One, I've been on a kick for portrait and hair stuff right now, which there's not as much of in the old coloring books I do. And this is perfect. We've got the eyes, we've got the hair. I'll be able to hopefully figure out some fun thing, some shading and stuff for the skin. So it should be fun.
Right.
That's the whole point in the whole reason I'm coloring. It's fun, it's relaxing, and it's already. Really quick, let's jump in and say hello to the chat because we have quite a few people for a Sunday this early. Good morning, Hyperdelic. He jumped on Oz's stream last night, so we got to finger quote meet as much as you meet on the internet these days. It's lovely to meet you. Great conversation, Hyperdelic. If you are in the chat and you haven't subscribed to Hyperdelic, you should. It's got a great channel. Toy Mama, hello. Good morning, Christina. Christina, thank you so much. Like was doing all the things with sharing links, and she beat me to it in a few places, which is a relief. My least favorite part of having a YouTube channel is all the promotion. It feels weird to me. So thank you, Christina. Muchly appreciated. And good to see you. Good morning, Nolan. We've arrived. Nolan is here.
Great.
There's you and I are in the chat, so I'll just skip those. Just in case you missed it, Christina is giving you an extra special hello, my love, this morning, so that's very sweet. You
Hello?
guys were cracking me up on Friday whenever you got to the bantering part of your stream. I love that. So
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun with Friday nights, so we're trying to keep that going.
well, I enjoyed it. I like when you two start sort of cracking on each other. So it's fun. Sam and
Uh,
Diane from Cheers, but less.
yeah, apparently that's a thing people seem to like, so.
But, it's fun. Good morning, Cobb Web Collector. Lovely to see you. Cobb has that, his Keldor is up. So if you haven't seen anyone watching who wants to see the Masterverse Keldor, go check out Cobb's channel because he has it up. And that's a very nice looking figure. So good morning, Mary. Lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in. Everyone's saying hello. Thanos. Good morning, Thanos. Also, Thanos just dropped his video this week because he is doing his recaps of all of his pictures that he takes on Instagram that are epic. Maybe not safe for work, but occasionally. But this was a nice, solid week. So I didn't see anything that wasn't safe for my work, but I work from home, so.
Right.
Muchly recommended. He does amazing toy photography, and I like that he gives us the behind the scenes on those pictures. So, Brennan, good morning, Brennan. Also, extra thanks to Brennan. Brennan hooked me up this week with this She-Ra sword, which is very nice. So, thank you again, Brennan. I've been probably about 17 times this weekend have lifted it up and done the little She-Ra transform. I mean, not that I actually transformed, but I've been saying for the honor of Grayskull. And I have to sit down to do that though, because it's like when I extend it fully, like it hits the ceiling. So
Right.
but
So have you watched the Revolution cartoon yet, or?
I have. I watched it all. Like it hit, like, and I woke up at like 3:30 my time, couldn't sleep, so I just watched it all the
Okay.
way. It was so good. I liked it a lot. Good morning, Alex. Lovely to see you, sir. Speaking of Revelation, Alex and I are doing buddy colors together from the official Revelations coloring book. So check Alex out under Black Phoenix on IG, and you can see. And plus, Alex has also been making videos. So yeah. Why, thank you very much. Yeah, it's true. I did just need this word. Good morning, Payne. Lovely to see you. Thank you, everyone. All right, we are pretty much caught up with chat. I will do my best to keep up on top of that. I'm still getting the hang of it, but I'm going to start coloring a little bit. So let's. And then you are inking, so that's perfect.
Yeah, I've already started there. A little start on it.
So yeah, I'm just going to start with like the eggshell to sort of lay down my skin tone base. So, almost every Caucasian person, this is where I sort of start. It's just something to work from. So, and then it's easier to lay in. And because it's sort of like an off-white color, it's really easy to go in and lay in like eyeshadow over it, or, like if I shade with some colors.
Right.
And there's some shading. The way you've drawn this, there's some suggestions of shading. So it'll actually be easier than some of the old coloring books where I have to kind of guess the light source or get creative.
I'm not sure what color her eyebrows are. Oh, okay. I think they're. I think they're the same color as her hair.
Yeah, they tend to be. But
yeah, they are. I just looked at a couple images.
Yeah, it's also that thing with animation where it's like sometimes depending on the angle or where she's at on the screen, they can look black or brown. So
Yep.
So that's a funny thing about some of these old cartoons. Like I'll remember like eyes or skin, not skin tone, like the hair or something is slightly different, and then when I watch it, I'm like, oh, it's the way they shaded the cells. So
Yeah.
not so much with like Filmation. Filmation was pretty consistent. There wasn't a lot of like sort of artistic shading and stuff with the way they did things, which was
Right.
because of how quickly they had to produce that. But Voltron, like there was a lot of. I mean, it was Japanese animation just sort of adopted for the U.S. So
Yeah.
it had that aesthetic to it.
It was actually it's the first. I don't know if it was it Voltron or Astro Boy that came first on TV.
I think Astro Boy came before. The first sort of Japanese animation I remember was Battle of the Planets G Force.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the next after that, it was Voltron, Transor Z. I'm trying to think if there was another one. I think it was just Transor Z and Voltron. I mean, I know Robotech was happening, but I never watched Robotech as a kid.
I
It wasn't,
didn't.
it wasn't on in our area, so which is why all of those toys ended up just sort of sitting on pegs around us. I
Right.
always wanted those Robotech toys because they were really cool. They were like they looked like O-rings, but they also had there were a lot of ladies, which even as a kid, that was sort of what would appeal to me about toy lines. You
Right.
know, especially action figures. Like anything with a girl, I was like, I'm in. Which is why I had Princess Allura, I had the Blue Lion, and I had the Castle of the Lions. So that
I never ever owned a full Lion set. I only ever had. I think I had Hunk. I think he
yeah,
was the only one I had.
my brother had all the other lions and all of the figures for the lions. He only had that red warrior, the red villain. Like we didn't have a lot of the villains from Voltron.
Right.
They were pretty much sort of scaled with Star Wars though, so we use them a lot. I use the Castle of the Lions as Palace Alderaan a lot. So when I would play, it was like Princess Leia's base of action um, that she had created after the destruction. This was, of course, post Return of the Jedi. So
Something about those '80s intro themes, I find they just can't seem to capture it anymore. Or I don't think they even really try. But something
well,
about those '80s intros, I really like them.
yeah. But like I think we're unique. Sort of Gen X and the elder millennials are sort of unique that we still are sort of wanting that type of thing because for the most part the kids just don't care. Um,
Yeah.
like they're just not interested in that stuff. So and even like regular TV shows, like most of them don't have the sort of openings. I think Friends was one of the last shows that really had a proper, like theme song
Right.
and just even that, like if you, I don't, not that I watch a lot of TV, but like on, I watch it like through Netflix, but I don't watch a lot of network TV as it's happening. But even on Netflix, they like it'll skip the previews after you've watched it that first time. So it's not always even necessary anymore. So I think we just consume television and programming differently than we
Right.
used to, and it's had to adapt. But I also can't imagine. I think opening things are also sort of more intended for the days where it's like you had that like 2 or 3 minute block of commercials right after the show started. And so YouTube tried to show me like 3 minutes of commercials this morning before a live stream I was watching while I was prepping. And I was just like, what the heck? 3 minutes, YouTube? Like, no. I have a hard time making it through your like 10-second commercials on here. 3 minutes. And they did
Yeah.
it tried to sneak a 9-minute commercial. I was watching a 10-minute video and they tried to cite a 10-minute commercial in there the other day, like for medication or something. It's like, I don't even need this. I am not your audience, even if it was a reasonable length commercial. So I don't know what's going on at YouTube with whoever picks the commercials, but they need to work on that a little, I think.
Yep, I would say so.
So did any of your like vintagey Voltron stuff you have survived? Do you still have it, or is it all?
I don't have a single piece of my old collection that I used to have or anything that I had. Actually, I don't even know what happened to it, which is the odd thing about it. So the only thing I managed to gather back since then was I got a couple mask vehicles and figures, and I've got a couple of vintage masters. And that's it. That's all I've got for vintage wise.
And none of our Voltron stuff. I mean, like we had a bunch of stuff in storage in Louisiana, where we were, in the area where we grew up, and none of that. There's a couple of hurricanes, but none of that survived one of the hurricanes. So,
right.
The childhood collection stuff that isn't with me, sort of up here in the Pacific Northwest, did not survive. So, like all the Voltron stuff, most of the Master stuff, I only have. I only had Tila and Evelyn with me. But
right.
all of our other stuff, our Eternia, our USS Flag, all of that stuff is just buried somewhere in Louisiana under mud and stuff. Part of the debris that 1,000 years from now, when somebody's excavating, digging down, they'll find all these old plastic relics. Too bad, but also I don't have room for USS Flag, so it's a bummer, but at the same time, it's not like I have room for it. My brother isn't really, he hasn't carried the collector's thing with him. He would get sort of annoyed with my mom when she would buy him like action figures and stuff. He'd be like, I'm an adult now, I don't need this stuff. And I've sent him a thing or two over the years. He's just not really into it, which is fine. Not everyone carries the collector thing, but it's interesting.
Right. Yeah, it's not for everyone.
And I've often wondered sort of what the difference is, because my boyfriend Matt, like he collects he has his like sort of collection of games he plays, but he doesn't really have any sort of, which I mean, thank goodness, because we would not. If he also collected, we would have to.
But I used to be when I was a kid.
He was when he was a kid. Yeah, he's in the back listening. So, but I don't know where we would live if he also was collecting stuff, because there are days where my stuff is a little bit everywhere. So.
Right. I'm also a gamer too, so I'm actually surprised I didn't do it. The only reason why I didn't do a game channel versus a toy channel is because I want to do something more physical.
Yeah. Well, gaming channels can also be harder to. Sometimes it's just hard to hit big on gaming. I have a friend who tried to do a gaming channel. He's really good. But just for whatever reason, he never. I think also, like, he wasn't doing Twitch, though. So I think a lot of it is you have to really put. Yeah. I don't think YouTube is necessarily going to be a primary platform for gaming. So.
I'm kind of glad I didn't for that reason, because I'm not really, a huge fan of Twitch. So
I'm going to pop in really quick to the chat while I'm thinking about it. See, Brandon's taking the dog for, yep, no, definitely. Puppers needs walking. Good morning, Stanley's Toy Channel. Thank you for joining us. Stanley has a channel. He's been doing reviews. You should go check him out.
He's been checking out. He's been in my live as well. So
no, like I think he jumped on Oz's last weekend. I could be wrong. I didn't join. I was on Oz's last night, but not last weekend, so I don't know for sure who all joined. I thought he did, but I could be wrong. Alex is saying Astro Boy first came out in the 1960s, so yeah, that would have been. I'm not sure if
Okay.
it was the same for Canada or not.
Those are just the first two anime shows that I remember,
Yeah.
is Voltron and Astro Boy, because I used to watch them quite a bit.
Stanley says 80s theme cartoon rocks. Yep, there's some good stuff there.
For sure.
Good morning, Silver K. Hey girl, hey, right back at ya. Huh. Nice. You too. Yep. It's pretty lucky. It's lucky to find anyone who shares your interest. So I feel pretty. I mean, Matt and I don't share that interest, but
Oh yeah.
we do well. We both like having cats, so that is all that it takes. It's like, you like cats, I like cats. Let's do this and have cats. So
Yeah.
all right, let's see. So her hair needs something. I'm not quite sure yet what, but there we go. Now, put a little bit more brown in it. Sort of give it a little bit more shading.
Yeah.
But that'll work very well. So you haven't watched the new Motu yet?
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was okay. Me and Christina watched it Friday and Saturday. I did pick at it a little bit, but that's just the old school me in me. But yeah, we did enjoy it most of all. But I did like the ending though.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
I don't know if it's too early to speak about the spoilers on it or not. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I chatted about. Well, I was on Geek the F Out Sunday night. I think it was Monday. Was it Monday, Kayla? If you're still there, Kayla. I think it was Monday. We finished the recap of the first series, the first episodes. Yeah, that was Monday. It was a long week, but it's a very long week. But Friday we did episode 1 on Geek the F Out. We talked about it, and so my head is like, and I think I don't know yet. I'm not speaking to that, but I know there are more episodes of Geek the F Out coming. So about Revolution. So I will save most of my hot takes in case I pop back up. I can't remember. I volunteered for them to put me on whatever they needed, but I'm not sure yet how that'll work. It's a fun time. Like there is a lot of positivity I've noticed lately about Motu, more so than there was before. Like Revelations was really divisive for a lot of people. And it's been nice to see a lot less of that this go round, where for the most part people seem to be liking it.
Yeah, I noticed that. It was like a complete 180 flip. I don't know why that is, but
Not gonna
good for
complain.
them. I'm glad that people are enjoying it.
I get. It's just nice to not have the feed full of negative, like angry people.
Right.
YouTube loves to recommend that some days.
Well, and people like to watch that type of stuff. There isn't a large audience for people that like the
Chris
the drama.
is here. Oh, sorry. Chris just popped in to say gently press that button. And Kayla clarifies, yes. It was a long week. And then tomorrow and Friday. Okay, so if you're watching recaps on Geek the F Out, that's tomorrow, that's Friday. And good morning, Derek. Lovely to see you. Derek also made his debut on Oz's stream. Well, Oz was off, but the Clubhouse last night. Have you been on there yet, Adam?
On Oz's?
Yeah,
Not yet. No, I haven't actually.
should join
Or,
this weekend.
or if I did, it would have been like way earlier on when I first met Oz.
Yeah. Should jump on some weekend. It's fun. You and Christina jump on some weekend and hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm
Be good
sure we
time.
will at some point.
It's sort of nice to be on the internet, but not actually be creating content and just being the
Right.
content, you know. There's some good conversations. Last night it got, yeah. We won't repeat any of it because I'm a little bit earlier in the day, but the subject of glitter dicks did come up, and that's about all I'm gonna say. So,
Tch. Yeah, I must say I was not expecting the ending that they showed us.
yeah, that was
At the
I
sa-
did, but I didn't. Like I was surprised that they kind of. I was surprised that they did a teaser because it had sort of sounded like this was going to be the end of sort of like the last thing that they were going to do. So I was surprised to get teasers, but I was happy with them. So
Oh, I did too. Yeah, I was happy with it, and I mean, I should have known better. Like, oh, geez, okay, so this is what they're
yeah,
doing. But you know, if it wasn't for the whole thing with DreamWorks, and
yeah. Well, the particular character of Despara was sort of created as as sort of a way to work around.
the loophole.
Yeah, it's the loophole. Yeah, it's sort of a loophole, and we won't, for spoiler reasons this morning, we won't go into that because I'm going to assume some of the people popping in here either haven't watched it yet and plan to.
Right.
And since this is, we're doing Voltron, it's a pretty fair, reasonable expectation that we wouldn't spoil Mochu for them during the Voltron art thing. So
Fair
we
enough.
we will be accommodating. We will chat about it the same way we have been, elusively and spoiler free. But definitely check it out if you're watching and you haven't, because it was quite the good time. And so, I need to sharpen this. I just did a big open stock order of pencils, so I have like 3 or 4 different blues that I didn't have before. So I'm gonna use some of those for Alora's eyes. So I really like how you got in the sketch like that sort of big anime eye thing. Like
Right.
really cool. Like that was why I picked this one. I was like, it's got hair, it's got skin, and she's got the big eyes. I don't, because most of what I do is old 80s coloring books. So a lot of it's way more realistic in proportion. So I was kind of, that's one of the fun things about Voltron for me is that it is sort of that anime stylized thing. So when I do Voltron stuff, it's a little bit different than everything else I'm doing.
Right, because of the style, right?
Yeah, it's a different, I obviously, I'm a long-term fan of Masters of the Universe and Star Wars stuff, and that I do a lot of that stuff. But
I gotta start drawing some Marvel stuff next.
you should. Like I bet. I was glad when you suggested we do this because I like your art, but I also know that because of the primary focus of your channel, it can be really hard to get the algorithm to cooperate if you make art content. So,
Yeah, I pretty much had to stop it because YouTube doesn't understand, that I'm a toy channel and like to do art too. So at
right.
least that's my theory behind it, anyway.
Yeah, that's sort of. I have thus far been able to sort of skate around that because so much of what I do is toy related. So I've been fortunate so far, knock on wood. But But it also takes being really mindful about when I do. There's some sort of arts, like I did during Halloween. My friend Cassie did an entire coloring book about classic monsters. So I did a bunch of Halloween shorts. And the monsters ones did all right because I put Rimco monster toys in it in the tags. The stuff
Right.
that didn't have any sort of like toy tag in it did not do as well. So lesson learned.
Yeah, I always put the tags in, and it doesn't seem to. Well, when I was doing the artwork, it didn't seem to make a difference. So.
Yeah, tags are weird on YouTube. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So you have to I just do them on every video and then I'll go back and tweak if something seems to be bombing, which is rare.
Right.
I mean, not like rare that it would, like I usually get a pretty decent set of people that have subscribed specifically for the content I make and they get the content. So that's what I'm happy if the people who like what I'm doing see me. So
Yeah. Main thing's to have fun, I guess.
if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you shouldn't be doing it because that's not tenable long term.
All right. Yeah, you gotta like what you're doing. You do.
I mean, that's a nice thing about your content is it's toy news, which obviously you're into, and then unboxing cool toys. So
If I had my way, it would just be unboxings.
yeah,
Yeah, I seem to like that more than anything. It's that excuse to be able to play with the toys on
right.
camera. Right.
It's cool though. Yeah, it's funny. That's my least favorite. Like I did a unboxing video with a brick, because he won the new Sectar toys from Toy Anxiety, like a giveaway on one of their episodes, and it was that thing where he and I both entered. I didn't want Dargon. I wanted Stellara, and they were doing them as a set. And he wanted Dargon more than he wanted Stellara. So he's like, if I win, you get Stellara. And I was like, and if I win, I'll give you Dargon. And he won. So we did a unboxing video that he's editing.
Right
But it
on.
was interesting because to do it, I had to like figure out a setup and stuff because I just don't do unboxings.
Right.
And setting it up, I figured out sort of a way to do a setup that I enjoyed. So I'm gonna I got a bunch of those strawberry shortcake chibis from like Five Below. And I think Kayla said she was gonna order some. So I think if she did, and when she gets, I'm gonna save mine, and maybe she and I will do a live stream unboxing because I think that's fun. That's one of the fun things about Oz is when I have toys to open on Oz and it's on stream and you can talk to people about what it is. So I kind of get that side of it. It's just all of the ripping, packaging, opening, and all the noises that it makes.
Yeah, that's part of the satisfaction, though. Sometimes I know people don't like the sound of it.
Yeah. It's not that I don't like it. I feel really self-conscious about sort of the noise the plastic makes, that especially when you're trying to rip the figure out of the plastic coffin that they come in.
Right. Yeah, I enjoy doing them. I was never going to come live. Like that was, I had no intentions of ever going live when I first started this channel. Funny how things change.
Cobb, I have a mess after every Saturday night stream, right? Yeah, the first time I jumped on, I had like 2 or 3 boxes of stuff to open, and it's after the stream was over, it took like 20-30 minutes for me to clear all the plastic away just so that I could get away from the desk. Which is actually the main lesson there is I shouldn't just get stuff and then stick it in a box and like, I'll get to it later.
Right.
It tends to deliver during the day when I'm working, so it's like open the door, get the box, and then go back to work. All right, let's see. I did not.
Oh man, I didn't sharpen these things right.
Yeah, a lot of times they don't come. The pre-sharpen a lot of times on pencils that you buy isn't great. All right, so this is, yeah, definitely a dark purple, so good. Is that
Exactly.
dark? And it's like the art on this is pretty good, Adam. I'm having a hard time like looking at things to do to it to like spruce it out because like there's not a lot it needs.
I tried like I was shading, like I can't help but not shade, right? Like
Yeah.
I could draw them and not shade the drawing, but then it just feels incomplete to me.
No, I know. Yeah, it's just funny because I'm sitting here like doing little things and I'm like, this doesn't need a lot of big stuff. Not a complaint, just funny because I'm sitting here like also trying not to ruin it because it, you know, like not that it, yeah, it's like it's pretty cool. So it just means I'll be able to get at least 2 done today.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And it's sort of, you know, like it takes normally 2 or 3 hours for me to do a page that is on, that I make a short out of. And if it's a longer video, it's often because it took 4 hours. So, it's sort of,
Right.
and it's funny because I honestly, I don't watch coloring videos that are longer than 15 to 20 minutes myself. So that's, but it also feels really weird when you've spent all that time and then you turn around and speed it up and you keep speeding it up until it's like 5 minutes, you know, like I record most of them in time lapse, so I don't have to do much, you know, to like edit,
Right.
you know, to speed them up. But when I do the longer videos like that, like I'm working on one right now that was like 5 hours of footage, and I got it down to 20 minutes, and it's like I was like I just have to stop because it feels weird, but there's no way I'm gonna put out a like that long of a video for this page. So the longer stuff is when I do a live stream and talk.
Yeah. I see Cobweb is getting his subs up pretty high.
Yeah, he did. He had that cartoon collection Tila video that did really well, and Mega J did a reaction video to it, which helped a lot of people see that Cobb was there, and then yeah, so which is good. Like Cobb makes really good content, so congratulations. It's nice to see that happen too, like because I was watching that video. And I, you know, like I'll watch a video or a live stream or whatever, and I'll leave it on the screen because I'm often doing multitasking and or at work. And then sometimes, like if I don't finish it or I miss the end of something, I'll rewatch it. And so I had watched Cobb's video, and then it was up on my screen in a tab because I always have a million tabs open. And I went back. And it was still up, and it was still at like I can't remember. I'm gonna pretend that I remember the views, but it would say 25 views when I watched it because I watched it really quick, right when you put it up. but it was like 2 or 3 days later, and I like refreshed it, and it was like all the views. So it was like it was just interesting. Like, and then and then after that, I found the Mega J reaction video. I'm like, oh, that's what happened. Mega J. So didn't happen to a nicer guy. Cobb makes great content. So
Yeah.
always nice to see good people doing well.
How are you doing on like your watch hours?
My watch time is pretty good. I mean, like, shorts aren't very helpful for watch time, frankly. Um, you know,
Right.
it's 90 days, so if you don't go viral, and I don't make content that's designed to go viral, like I don't, and going viral, if you've studied anything about it, like it's not pleasant,
Right.
because it brings a lot of unwanted attention, you know. So yeah, so view time is a little bit lower based on how much how much actual quote unquote watch time I have. Because if you factor in shorts, I have a lot of watch time. But I'm right at 1,000 watch hours, which is pretty good considering how much sort of like regular content I make. So I'm in a good place.
Right.
I'll get to sort of, I'm almost to 500 subscribers. I'm at like 440, I think, as of yesterday. So I'm in a I'm pretty good place. I'm making all of my goals. My goal was to have at least 300 subscribers by the end of the year and 500 watch hours. And I'm pretty far above that. So
There you go. I
but
had I had the watch hours, but I didn't have the subscribers. That was my issue
yeah,
when I first hit the 1K. It's like I was 2,000 watch hours more than what I needed, but I didn't have the subscribers. It was so weird.
that's sort of, I think, part of the live stream though. It's like you can get, like a lot of my watch hours come from live streams. But also, I've got a couple of videos that have done pretty well for me. So,
Right.
and so, like it is what it is. But yeah, I also jumped in when I started this. I made some what I consider were reasonable goals.
Yep.
And I'm meeting my goals. Like I also still figuring out content. Sort of how to package some of my stuff, how people respond to it, what people will watch, what they won't watch. Um, and what I've been lucky about so far is the stuff that I personally have not enjoyed myself. Nobody else is enjoying. So sometimes you have to make a couple of videos, to realize you don't like making that kind of video.
Right.
And then also have people not enjoy it or not watch it. And then so that you get that it's that reaffirmation that like make what you like and the people will eventually find it. So it helps that I'm very niche, so I can
Right.
sort of focus in, and I've got a couple people who like subscribe who like will ask like, oh, do you have more of this thing? And it's like, yes, and that's often something I want to do more of anyway. So it may sometimes be for an audience of one in that case, but technically two because I'm also into it. So I don't know. It's fun. I'm having a good time with it still. So it's when it stops being fun that
Right. If it becomes a chore or whatever.
yeah. When it's like like I have a couple Marvel shorts from like Secret Wars. But I'm not a huge Marvel person, so it's like those aren't as fun because I don't have as much of an understanding of the Marvel universe as I do say DC. So there's a
Okay. Yeah.
lot. I have to do a lot more research when I'm coloring, like Marvel stuff to go and see like, oh well, this is, like Secret Wars like 1984, 85. So this is what the costume looks like then. So there's a lot more research. which is,
Right.
like not a bad thing, but it's just I'm not as confident with Marvel as I am if it's like Star Wars or DC or whatever. I'll still do references for. I do references for everything. The Barbie stuff, like I literally will have the actual doll, a picture of it, of what doll it's based on my screen, so that I can sort of get like the spirit of the toy when I'm doing the picture.
Right.
For Marvel, I just often feel like, and I feel like some of my Marvel stuff hasn't hit as hard as it could because I'm not as familiar and don't have that connection. And I think that I feel like it translates in art. If you're not into something, you're not going to put the same labor of love into it. So that's why
Right.
when I do Marvel, it tends to be the old Secret War coloring books because we did collect Secret Wars.
Okay.
So I know Secret War stuff, and well, the toy line from Mattel, not the actual comic book.
Right.
So you do seem, there will be plenty of that kind of stuff, sort of mixed in, lots of Secret Wars based stuff because I know that. But I had a friend who was like, "Oh, like look, here's this Avengers coloring book," and I'm like, and it's not the movie's Avenger, it was like 90s or whatever, and I'm like, I have no clue, and I don't have time to properly research that, so thanks, but I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want to, because the worst thing, in my opinion, the worst thing to do would be to do something like that and then have somebody who really knows the material be like, oh, this is completely wrong, and not that I dislike that, like not to avoid that feedback, but to avoid
Conflict.
Well, to avoid, like every character is somebody's favorite character. I don't want to go in and fuck up somebody's character.
Right.
Like, especially with some, because I'll do some of the characters I do are pretty random, and it's like it's a very small audience, and you're excited because your favorite character is getting a little attention, and then it's completely wrong. That's not a good.
Yeah, them Star Wars fans, crazy Star Wars fans out there.
Oh, I don't. I'm not. It's funny. Yeah, somebody was like, "Oh, the Star Wars fans." I'm like, I don't care about them. Like, I've been. I saw the original Star Wars, in the theater 7 times. I saw it before it was called A New Hope. Like literally, I saw Star Wars at least twice before they changed that opening call to say A New Hope, and before it said like Episode 4. Like, so anytime somebody comes along it's ironic. I've mainly only gotten it on Star Wars. But somebody did come along once. I'm like, that's not an accurate color. And I just replied, it's like, well, no, it's not supposed to be. It's called artistic license. Because when I do Hoth, I put like pink and blues and stuff. I kind of pastel the ice because otherwise why would I even color it? Because it would all be white.
Right.
So I have to get a little creative. And somebody was not enjoying the creativity. So that's actually been the only comment I have ever deleted. Like, because I was just like, overall, I'm like, I'm not going to leave a comment that is basically not understanding artistic um, art. Like, it's like it was clear that it wasn't supposed to be like, this is what snow looks like. It was really clear that it was supposed to be
Yeah.
artistic license. And so that, like, but I had somebody comment on one of my things. Like, I don't really like sort of the technique you use. I left that one up. Like, I was like, that's about, it was, it wasn't mean. It was just criticism. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, I can grow from that. So,
Right.
and I did use a weird technique on that I'd never tried before. So obviously it wasn't successful. So, not everything is good all the time. And that is one thing. I'll put a short up even if I'm not enthused about it sometimes because it went wrong. because for me, part of the process is warts and all. I like seeing the mistakes. So
Right.
let's see. Check chat really quick.
Yep.
Excellent. Good morning, Oz. Lovely to see you.
Good to see us.
Hope you're feeling better. He did not make it last night because he wasn't feeling well, but he's also had a long week of streaming. So,
Oh, okay.
Cobb says, "Thank you guys for all the kind words. You're two of my favorite peoples." Oh, you're one of my favorite peoples too, Cobb. You're a good guy. Not enough good
Absolutely.
guys in the world, and it's good that Cobb is one of them. And this is also true, Thanos. And yeah, some of the Marvel stuff I think hasn't gone as good as it could because of the weird state of Marvel. So, but you know, when I do have like 2 Spider-Man things in my stack of pages to draw that I really want to do, and if people don't like it, oh well, they can not like it.
Right.
Interesting. I wonder. I don't know anything about football, so I'd make.
I don't either. Sports is definitely not my category of topics.
Exactly. How dare you use your imagination? All right. Well, thank you, Stanley, for checking in. Appreciate you coming back. All right. And that's that. So, yeah. Almost done with this because, like I said, this is a pretty good drawing. So, there's not a lot that it needs. I'm just going to do a little bit with the gems in her crown.
I could always do some G-Force stuff too if you ever want to
That would
do
be
it.
cool because I had, and I think 2nd grade, we had to bring a coloring book to class, you know, like for like rainy days or, you know, time where we wrapped up. Because when I was in 2nd grade, it was before like you made kids spend every conscious moment doing work. You know, and having everyone be a little overachiever who's constantly doing stuff. And I've not been able to find that coloring book on eBay or at yard sales or anything. So if anyone finds a vintage G-Force coloring book that's watching this and it's not horrifically expensive or completely colored, give me a holler and maybe we can do, because so G-Force, if you want to do some G-Force at some point, that is.
Yeah. I'm not like I don't have a big knowledge of them, but I do know what the characters look like because you know they're anime. So
Yeah,
who's the girl that's like I think she's in pink.
Yeah, I forget that's the thing. Like it's been so long, I don't really remember their names. I just remember really, and there was at one point a toy line, but they were really expensive.
Were they?
Yeah, it seems like they were $20 to $30, and then I looked those up a few months back on the aftermarket, and they're even more expensive now. So
yeah, that's right. I remember looking at the toys not that long ago.
Really cool. I've been, and also like the old sort of. Like, I don't think you can even find that media. And I don't think it's like on Amazon or anything. Last time I looked for Battle of the Planets, it did not. It could be there now. It's now the first thing I'm going to do when we're done with this today. I'm going to go look up and see if Battle of the Planets is anywhere. Because I would like to rewatch that. Because I assume there's a lot of that I did not get. I would have been 3 or 4 when that was on. So I can assume some of that went over my head pretty big. So you can go watch it as an adult and be like, oh, all the things you missed.
Yep.
And especially because it was sort of Japanese anime. All of it, you know, it's like in the original Voltron. What was it, Lance? Was it Lance, the one that
got replaced by Alora? Yeah.
Yeah, he actually died. That's why she took over for him in the original anime, because he died. And You know,
I think they toned it down for the U.S. though, didn't they?
they
He
did,
just
yeah.
like
He did not die. He went away to be more involved in like the space army or whatever. He came back later in the series too, so I think they probably just reused footage. But yeah, I remember as a kid thinking like, I bet he really died, because at that point I had started picking up on the fact that things were getting changed for American audiences when they would bring it over. It was really hammered home with Transfer Z, because I don't know if you ever watched that, but Aphrodite, when the big girl robot, her power was her boobs were missiles. So when she would go into a fight, she would like shoot her boobs at people.
really.
And her name was Aphrodite. And I remember my mom like sort of doing that. This is sort of a weird cartoon. And
Right. I could see parents be like, yeah, no.
she didn't stop it. She was just like, it's all. She thought it was also hilarious. My mother had that. My mother was pretty young though, so for her it was almost. It was kind of a joke, like, oh my god. I mean, there were other things that she was really like, you kids don't need to be watching that. But for whatever reason, Aphrodite. I guess it was just so silly that it didn't.
So that's a good topic. Like, why is it that the Japanese in their shows and cartoons, especially back in the day, they were watching stuff that was a lot of killing and a lot of things like that, but the Western market didn't. It's so weird.
Right. Yeah, I've always wondered that too. Like, why like not necessarily just sort of the why that they sort of were more, I guess, trusting of like kids to like sort of, like grasping more mature concepts than in the US, because like, you know, but we also got content that was full of stuff we shouldn't probably, like you go back and watch a lot of 80s movies and there's just stuff in there that, PG movies that like you're kind of like, wow, like I
Right.
probably should not have been watching that as a child.
Yeah.
But but not necessarily like as violent, or like not the sort of violence, and it was just candy coated in a lot of ways for us. I don't understand that. I'm not sure how much of that I would assume some of that translates over in Canada, but in the US it was this weird candy coating of, like you would show, horrible essay or something in a movie, but or imply it or whatever. And but at the same time, kids can't watch a cartoon about death, even though like the television stuff was all, there's
Yeah, I mean, we watched. I remember being small, and every time you turn around, MASH was on.
yeah, MASH was full of stuff that, yeah, and MASH was sort of considered family time. That was a show that sort of families would watch together. I was not a fan of MASH. I tried to rewatch MASH a few years ago, and I did not. I get why people liked it. I get why like they got, like the actors got the awards, but I just was not. I did not enjoy MASH as a child, and I don't enjoy it as an adult.
I actually didn't enjoy it as a kid at all, but I went back and watched it, and I actually really liked it. I was like, hey, is it actually kind of like this show? Because I don't know. I think it was the theme song that got to me when I was a kid. I'd always want to fall asleep.
Right. And it's funny because, like, have you heard the actual lyrics that go to that song before? Like, the name of the song is Suicide is Painless. So, it's a pretty
Okay.
dark song. I think the full thing, the actual, like, song with lyrics is up on YouTube. I recommend checking it out sometime because it adds another layer of, like, what the F to it. And, like, not
Right.
only did this song sort of work like a lullaby where it would lull you to sleep, but it's also sort of about suicide.
Right.
So cheerful. We love you, 1970s. The cheerfulness of it. Check chat really quick. Good morning. Well, again, West Coast and me, it's still morning for me. Morning, Ria. Nice to see you. Yeah, exactly. They were quite impressive. Thanos likes Smash, so there you go. That explains everything, Thanos. Everything now makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanos liked Smash.
I liked it like as an adult though. I just couldn't watch it as a kid. Star Trek was another thing I couldn't get into. I never got into Star Trek until actually the only media I ever got into with Star Trek was when they did the remakes of the movies.
Yeah.
I liked those. For some reason I could watch those, but I could never get into the show or anything.
It's interesting, but Kayla and Johnny on Geek the F Out. Our sister channel, like in this point, it feels like I should be saying our sister channel, because I'm on there so much. They do their Star Trek retrack where like Johnny's watched all the Star Treks, Kayla hasn't watched any of it, so they're watching it from the first episode of the original show. So I have tried many times over the years to get into Star Trek. I used to watch a lot of The Next Generation, like because it was syndicated. It was on Saturday. There wasn't really much on Saturdays, you know.
Right.
Because it was before we had, where I grew up, like cable didn't happen right away, and it wasn't available in the area we were, even when most of our area got it, because we were pretty rural.
Okay.
Sorry, rural is one of those words that is hard to say.
Tongue twister.
Yeah, right? It's like on 30 Rock, the rural juror. It's a great joke on 30 Rock. Anyway, so we didn't get it. So there's a lot of like syndicated UHF channels, which was Star Trek The Next. So I watched a lot of Next Generation just because I didn't have a lot of choices always. And there's only so many times I could rewatch all 7 of my VHS tapes. I mean, we had a lot of stuff that we would record on the VCR, but so I watched a lot of Next Generation. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't, sort of something where I was really into it. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, Star Trek is on, let me watch that. It was more like Star Trek is on and there's nothing else on, so I'll watch it.
Right.
So I've tried to watch the movies a couple times, and I would always just not get bored and not make it through them. But Kayla and Johnny are doing until like they did the reboot. J.J. Abrams rebooted it, and then we had Hot Spock and Hot Kurt, and I was like, okay, I'm in. Like they're hot. This is way more action oriented than the old stuff is. I like this. Michaela and Johnny started redoing Star Trek, and I started rewatching them. And I've had a much easier time watching and enjoying it because it's within the context of, and on Thursday, we're going to talk about this. Like, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to be in chat. I'm going to, at very least, like, get to listen to them talk about it. It makes it more enjoyable. So,
right.
I'm officially now enjoying Trek for the first time ever because thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Johnny. So, all right.
That's yellow.
I need to wrap this up because I'm almost to the point where if I do anything more to this, it's gonna tread into I've done too much and now it's ruined. But it's really hard. It just It's come out pretty good.
Yeah.
Now I get to not try to not rip it from where I taped it down. That was one of the first things I learned about doing the coloring was tape your picture down.
That's exactly what I did.
You can tell when you're watching my shorts which ones are like older ones that are just now going up because like the paper is not like the page moves around the screen because it's not taped.
If
So
you're careful, you can like what I do before because I use I use packing tape because that's what I have. But what I do, make it so that it's not so sticky, but sticky enough to hold it so that when I tear it back off, it doesn't ruin the drawings.
So this one is done. I'll take a picture after the stream and stick it up on Instagram so that everyone can get a better. Oh wait, I almost forgot. The trick to sort of eyes. Gotta do the paint pen. There we go. All right. So anyway, this will be up on Instagram later.
Cool.
Let's figure what I should do next. You're doing, let's say Alora, you're doing. I'll save that Alora for later. I'll work on Pidge. That'll be fun. Oh wow, yours is looking really good.
Yeah, I'm a really light color, and then I just start adding in darks.
Yeah.
I always go light, then I go dark.
Yeah, it's a smart method. I'm still unfocused. There are times where I just go. I'm just gonna color it. It'll be good. It'll work out.
I would like to invest in those Copic markers at some point because I think I could do some wonders with it.
Yeah, Copic. I have a really inexpensive set of alcohol markers because I don't really know how to. Like, I've never really used alcohol markers before, so it's partly just I got sort of an inexpensive set so that I could practice with them. I'm gonna get a Wahoo, I think they're called. I'm gonna get those because those are sort of a few steps below Copic, but they've heard really good things about it. One of the things, a couple of the different artists that I follow have sort of mentioned is that Copic don't necessarily have great light, like they fade pretty quickly if you're not really careful with storage.
Okay, yeah.
So since I'm not doing any sort of commissioned art, it's not as big of a deal, but if I were to invest sort of the money Copic takes, I would probably open things up to commissions at some point just because it's super fancy markers. But so that's the thing to keep in mind is that Copic can fade really quickly if you're not really careful about you have to get like a really good acidy free paper and have to be really careful about storage of the art itself so that it doesn't fade as quick.
Right.
But I mean, for me, like when I'm just coloring this stuff, it goes into a plastic sleeve and into an envelope. I haven't stored anything. Displayed anything on a wall yet. So I'm not super worried about light fast. I just try to keep that in mind. And the only reason I mention it is because I do assume that part of what you would want to do with it is sort of to do commissions and sell art and stuff. So it's something to keep in mind with it. I have a sketch I bought at a convention from an artist who used Copics about 15 years ago, and it has started to fade noticeably. So definitely keep that in mind. You'll want to be careful with them if you're doing it for commission work.
Right.
So have you always done art, or was that something you picked up like in high school, or?
Oh no, I've been drawing since I was 9 years old.
Nice.
It runs in the family. There's my mom's brothers could draw. My brother could draw for when he was 16, 17. Then he got away from it. Now he can't. He just didn't pursue it, but he
Right.
could draw pretty good too. I didn't meet a whole lot of people on mom's side of the family, but she told me that there were some artists, like her brothers and stuff, could draw.
Oh, nice.
It took me a long time though. Like, I wasn't very good at it when I was 9, but
Right.
by the time I hit 15, I was drawing pretty good.
Nice. Well, very few people are very good when they're 9.
Well, I remember like being in school in junior high, and every time we'd have like an art project or something in the art class, people be like raising their hand. I'm Adam's partner.
Right. I would get that a lot. What I got a lot was people trying to get me to. I would always get enlisted to like make posters and shit. Like, oh, we need all these posters made for the bake sale. And it would just be like, oh, here's some stencils, copy the same shit over and over and over, which was boring as fuck. But
Right.
it was a lot. So that's kind of why I ended up falling out of it, was because my high school didn't have any sort of an art program. We had a really good one in elementary school, but in high school there was nothing. So there was just always people wanting me to make free posters or like do an art project. Like sometimes in science, you would need pictures drawn of something. People wanted me to do that sort of work for them, and it was just not exciting. And for a while I wanted to do comic book art, but it's just really hard to break into that. And
I agree, because I wanted to get into it too, and the farthest I ever really got in the sense of that is I was doing I used to do quite a bit of comic strips.
yeah.
I really was into that for quite a long time, and I know I can still do them, but I just kind of got away from them. But yeah, I couldn't get into the whole comic book thing because it's just, I don't know, the time consuming, and I'm not the greatest writer, so like I
Yeah.
have a good imagination, but my writing skills and stuff are just not up to par.
Yeah, for me it was always just I wasn't quite good enough, and it's like the time and effort it takes to become good enough. Like, I'm pretty impatient.
Right.
So like it's hard for me to. That's why the coloring thing kind of works, because it's very relaxing. So it's like I've been able to get a lot better since I've started on it and do pretty well with it because it works as a relaxation. But if I were actually spending lots and lots of time sort of having to concentrate, it would not go well because I would get impatient, and that
Right.
happens a lot, especially with drawing, because like I feel like I should be better than I am. So then I get impatient, and then I get frustrated, and then I just stop. So I'm trying to work on that. I've drawn a few things. I stopped just drawing and given up on the whole concept. But now they're, like it helps that you do art. So I probably will commission you. We'll talk later about commissioning you maybe to do a couple coloring pages for characters that just, like there aren't good books out there for. But I've been sort of watching YouTube tutorials on drawing and trying to actually put a little time into it, because it would be fun to. Well, it feels like it might be fun to start drawing again. I don't know. It stopped being a lot of fun.
Well, the best thing about art is it can be you can learn it, and it can be taught.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the few thing the one thing I have drawn, well, two things that I've drawn since I started again came out pretty good. I was pretty happy with them, but it took a lot of work to get to where I was happy with them, and I think that's part of it right now. Like,
Right.
time time is very short. Time feels very precious, and it's like there's so many things I
It
want
is.
to do that spending an hour or two like really practicing feels It feels like too much, which I need to just get past that because it's not like it isn't a good investment of your energy to like improve at something you like doing, but it's just sort of that mindset of like all the things I could be doing. How many pages could I have colored in that time? So
Right.
yeah, it is what it is. Let's see.
Yeah.
Jump back into the chat really quick.
Yeah.
Let's see what is what. Thanos saying, yep, he's rewatching. Probably wouldn't have otherwise. Yep, the rural juror. Like, it's just one of those things. Mary never watched MASH or Star Trek. Sweet. Yeah. Hello, Attorney in the Lips. Welcome. Go Lion. Yep, exactly. You're welcome. Thanks, God. Have a good day. We will see you around the internet in the
Yeah,
day.
thanks for coming.
And again, if you're, I would assume most of my audience subscribes to Cobb. But if you don't, go check his channel out. It's pretty good. I need to figure out how to send links and stuff out in chat. I'll get there.
Yeah, we're a pretty tight crew, I would say.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, there's sort of a core set of people that we see in our chats, and it seems to be, pretty common among all of the.
I've noticed some new people coming around lately, which is good,
Yeah.
Not just my channel, but other channels too I've seen, so it's a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a lot of people who show up in chat. I have a couple of people who will, like, I'll get a few messages later from one or two people who are like, "Oh, I watched the live stream. That was great. Thanks." Who, not everyone chats, so nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
there we go. All right.
It's been a moment since I colored, so I couldn't remember like if I remembered how to color or not.
Well, yeah, like that's the thing. So, like, during the pandemic was when I started sort of getting back into this, and it was really odd the first 2 or 3 times I colored. Like, and before that, the last time was when Attack of the Clones came out. There were some coloring books that came out that I picked up. It was right after I moved to the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
And yeah, I had like the guy I moved up here with, like we shared a vehicle, and like so I would take him to work, and then I would go to work, and then I got off work and I would go pick him up. But he started like an hour before I did, and he worked an hour later, so I'd sit in the car. And it was by a Kmart because we still had those. And it was right when Attack of the Clones came out, and I went. One of the times I went, I bought like a coloring book and some really cheap rose art crowns, and I would sit there and wait for him, and I would work on pages. And I was flipping. I found the book a couple months ago when I was going through some boxes of books, and I remember thinking, "Oh, I colored like 3 pages in the entire book." But being that I was only poking at it here and there, what was interesting though was I did pretty good for having a box of cheap crayons. Like, it was much better than I remembered being. And so yeah, during the pandemic, I got the idea I should color old vintage coloring books and stick that on the internet. And here we are in 2024. That's what I'm doing. But the first few things I colored, it was not great. It was very flat. It was very much like when we were kids, when everything was like you colored red and that was just it. So
Right.
it took me, even sometimes when I'm doing pages from old books, I'll catch myself doing really flat coloring. So it's been interesting trying to even retrain my brain all these years later to like, you need to shade, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's pretty flat here. So
Yeah, shading is one of those things. It's hand in hand. You need to do it when you're coloring, and you need to do it when you're drawing too.
that
You know.
makes all the difference. Like that's the difference between like something looking
Wow.
really flat and like just sort of like a coloring book page and it being sort of elevated and more artistic. So yeah.
I really want to create my own character too, like my own superhero. I just never got around to it, but I've written out a short bio of what my character is and what
Yeah,
her powers are and stuff like that. So
that's
uh,
cool.
I think it's kind of cool. I have what she's gonna look like. So obviously, I'm biased towards females when it comes to characters, and
Yeah,
you know, when I play video games and stuff, I like playing female characters and stuff. So um, yeah. So of course, my superhero is gonna be that typical blonde hair, blue eyes, but she's
yeah.
not going to be a good guy. She's going to be a bad guy.
Oh, cool. That'll be fun.
Yeah. I have exactly in my head what she looks like. I just
Nice.
haven't gotten around to drawing it yet.
Yeah, that can be. I used to like sort of doodle all the time, and I don't doodle a lot anymore. I
Yeah.
should, I should get just one. And I've got a gazillion sketchbooks. When Borders down here went out of business, they had a couple of these sort of sketchbooks that I really liked. So when everything was sort of marked down, I went in and got like a stack of those sketchbooks for like it was like $20 for like I think I got like 7 or 8 of them. And they're really nice paper, really thick, perfect
Right.
for drawing. And take like not alcohol markers, just regular sort of over the counter kids markers.
Water
But
based.
yeah, water based. But took that real, so like a lot of them have sketches and stuff back from when I was and sort of have some comic characters I made up, but I also have sort of like everyone, I have the epic, sort of my sort of epic fantasy thing happening. So I've got a couple of them full of character sketches and stuff,
Right.
and sort of the lore and stuff of the world. But I should grab one of the empty ones and just have it on the desk so I can start randomly doodling during work again. I mean, a lot of that I spent sort of coloring, so if I have a long hold, I'll sit there and work on something that isn't a video.
All right.
So, but I should probably start drawing again. Just doodling. I bet it would probably help with what I'm trying to relearn the art.
So what do you plan on like getting out of YouTube? Are you just doing it for like the fun of it, or like what's your thought? What's your plans with it?
Like that's the thing. Like, like obviously it would be nice to sort of like monetize or whatever. My sort of goal with it was to sort of what I'm doing is like create, sort of make art approachable because like that was one of the things that was sort of I was unhappy with, that I wasn't very being creative, and I'm obviously a creative person. But I also noticed I wasn't getting as mad or upset when Hasbro doesn't release a figure that I like, or the figure comes out, but it doesn't look like I think it should look. I noticed I wasn't feeling as sort of salty about that as some people get because I do custom. I like a customized figure, so it was like if the
Right.
figure is sort of a certain level, like I can just fix it. And I realized I was not feeling as salty. And everyone who was getting the saltiest, I would say stuff like, well, you could just customize that. And they would be like, it's too hard to custom. And then, like the coloring thing was happening. And I only wanted, there are a lot of really great adult coloring books, and I do have them and I color in them. But I was really more interested in sort of all these old coloring books that have stories in them,
Right.
sort of lore of it. And so I was just like, it would be really, and I would reference some of the stories sometimes in chats, and people would be like, oh, I've never read that story or whatever. So it's kind of just sort of like the toy history of it, like character lore, all that stuff really interested me. And I wanted to sort of bring that up. But I also wanted to sort of inspire people to be a little bit more creative. People will be like, oh, I'm not artistic. It's like anyone can like be good at coloring if you take a little time with it. And based on how relaxing it is, like it's good for you to like de-stress. So it's kind of the goal is to like get people to be more creative and more, it's a way to play with your toys,
Yep.
I don't know. Like I said, everyone, I think people who are creative are a little bit more happy. Even if they're not super happy, like it is de-stressor. You can own an entire toy line if you get the right coloring book, because all of them are in there. Especially with Motu, they did a coloring book every year that would have all of the new figures in it. So you could have the whole line. It's not as necessarily as it's not necessarily as expensive as like going out and buying the entire vintage line of a toy line. So
Right.
I don't know, and it's sort of part of the history of these toy lines. Like
I don't think I would ever complete a toy line.
yeah, right. So
Well, I don't see how it's possible with all the exclusives and stuff.
yeah, it's really not in this day and age. Like that's unless you have a lot of money for it and you spend all your time sort of trying to do that. So
Right.
and I think that's some of where the frustration happens is it's really hard. I remember sort of that's when I got frustrated with Star Wars back. It was around episode 2 when all of a sudden it was really hard to get everything. And not only that, that was really when they started sort of just re-releasing figures, like new sculpts of things that we already had. They're like, look, it's a Bespin Luke and he's got battle damage on his face. I'm feeling really sort of annoyed that like I was expected to buy, because I still had the collect them all mentality for Star Wars, but feeling really sort of annoyed that I was expected to collect them all and it was the same shit.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it wasn't even a better sculpt. Like in my opinion, that Luke in particular was why it happened was because it was a terrible sculpt of Luke and it looked terrible and it was so highly posed that like there was nothing you could do with it other than recreate that one specific scene, and it was just it was frustrating. And so I kind of walked away from all collect them all. I didn't actually collect Star Wars after that for a while, other than like Leia. I would buy Leia or Amidala figures, but otherwise pretty much just gave up on it for a couple of years, and then came back and was like, well, I'll collect my favorite characters and I'll collect these characters, and basically have been a cherry picker with Star Wars ever since. And I'm a lot happier as a Star Wars collector, as a cherry picker. So
I'm the same way with my G.I. Joes and stuff now. I decided that I'm only going to collect the retro card ones because those are the ones that have the accessories, what they had in the original packaging in the
yeah,
80s. So I said, I'm happy with that. I said, I can wait for them to come out. I'm in no rush.
right.
I just wasn't happy with a lot of the characters that were coming out, and there was just too many changes to them to me.
Yeah,
It's like I don't like this, and I don't know. I just decided to kind of give GI Joe a little bit of a break, but I know I will be going after the retro card Scarlet and Duke.
yeah. I definitely want that Scarlet and Duke.
Oh yeah, Absolutely.
funny. I had sort of not. I mean, like I was a super cherry picker for classified, and then and it was literally like I want the Baroness, I want a Baroness, I want a Scarlet, I want a Lady J, and I was just gonna get sort of those characters from childhood, and then the Glenda thing happened, and I was like, she's really cool. I did not order this. I didn't crowdfund that, but I'm somebody who did got a few, and like I'm gonna get a Glenda for them. I have Shooter. Shooter is really cool. I've got Spirit. Like
He was one of the best in the freaking line.
yeah, and I ended up getting him because a Punk with Toys Lawrence did a giveaway, and Ed won it, and Ed was like, and it was like I really wanted him. And Ed, I guess, already had him or didn't need him, and he was like, told Lawrence just to send it to me, so I got him. But it happened right as I was suddenly like, oh, there are some really cool G.I. Joe classified that I want. So I'm still cherry picking, but it's not the same. It's not as specific. It's just like if I like a character, I'm going to get that character.
Right.
So. And they're doing some I know the weapons aren't pleasing everyone, but in general, like I'm enjoying the character selection. I'm liking how there's sort of an effort to do classic vintage style characters that everyone knows and loves, but stuff like Shooter, where it's like this is a really new character not everyone knows. For me, I get really like Masters of the Universe, for instance, Origins got way more interesting when we got Frogmonger and like Lady Slither and Fangor. These newer characters, are really exciting to me. Like I hope with whatever Origins gets rebranded as, I'm hoping we get more of the original characters, because that's sort of for me what. As exciting as it will be when we finally get, say, Rio Blast. Sorry.
Rio Blast would be awesome to have.
But also it'd be really cool to get some of those new characters Axel created for classics that didn't quite get made. So hopefully we get more of those.
So do you think Snake's lair was more predetermined, or like, because it seemed like it was just destined to happen?
I feel like it was. I don't think that it was destined to happen. I think what happened with that is, it's really, like there were two different options for the Fright Zone. Like the Doom Tower is the Filmation Fright Zone. The other Fright Zone, of course, is the classic toy Fright Zone. And then there was like that attack track from Filmation that like some people are really into, but not everyone. Like I personally don't like that design. Like,
Okay.
that was not on my list. Like for me, it was like the Tower of Doom or the Snake Layer. Those were my top choices. What I really think happened was you've got those. There's the attack track. There's the Doom Tower. There's the Fright Zone. So I think everyone's top two were one of those three, and then the Snake Layer. And because those three probably split the vote so much, the Snake Layer was number one, because a lot of people did vote for the Snake Layer. So everyone's choice is going to be number one.
You know what I wish would have happened is I wish Mattel would have given us the vote poll to see how close we were.
Yeah. They're not going to do that because, and they also sort of intimated that they might, like the top one, of course, is sort of where they're going to start, but there's nothing to say with the way they did that they can't go in and do any of those as crowdfunds at a later date. And if other things got enough votes, they'd be stupid not to. That's like free marketing. And so,
we're going to get a Fright Zone. It's obvious we're probably going to get a Fright Zone, so.
Yeah, we're going to get some sort of a Fright Zone. And like Fright Zone, if they do the classic toy one, there's like plenty of ways to scale that where it would work as a, like a Big Bad Toy Store. Like they could do it as Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. Do it as an exclusive through those two places. So, there are fan channels where those things would work. So they don't necessarily have to, quote unquote, crowdfund everything.
I like the Mattel creations though, because the shipping is really good for us Canadians. It's like a $13 flat shipping, so it works out for me. It's just a matter of like, hopefully they don't sell out, and some people don't get a chance to get them.
Yeah. See,
I wish they would. I kind of wish they would stick with the make to order sort of thing, so that everybody has the chance to get as they want.
I liked that with Grizzlor. Like, I know, like, some people were annoyed it took so long for the made to order, but I mean, what I noticed is like the non-made to order Grizzlers that were ready to go didn't instantly sell out. They lasted a little bit longer, which was cool.
Right.
And then everybody who was able to order the made to order one got one. So I kind of hope that they will do that more often. I was really surprised they didn't do that with Lady Slither, but whatever. I don't work at Mattel, so I don't know what informs those sort of decisions.
Right.
Eternian Ellipse is saying he has not colored in many, many moons.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. This is actually my first time in a few years. Cause unless you're talking digital, of course.
I will at some point. Eternian Ellipse, I will probably reach out so you can join me on one of these. It's only a couple Sundays in a month, and a lot of people have joined or have already agreed to join me. So, but I'll be reaching out at some point because you definitely, with your Motu knowledge, would be fun to have. Same Stanley Story channels. I'm really glad we're getting new characters. So I hope we get more. Like, so that's in my opinion, that's sort of the secret. Like everyone's constantly like, what do we do to get new people to buy, a new audience for toys? It's like it can't just be the same 17, like G.I. Joe. It's like, Scarlet Duke, Cobra Commander, Destro, etc. Like, those are great for the old school fans, but like to get new fans, you're gonna have to mix in some new characters that are interesting, that will appeal to. That's sort of the one thing about G.I. Joe in the 80s. It's like every year there were new characters. And some of those characters weren't great, but, there was always an attempt to, like, bring new things to the line. And I don't feel like a lot of these toy lines are doing that. Like Frogmonger was super exciting because he was a whole new character. Even though he's like inspired by that old sticker, he's like new. Like, it's exciting. We've never had it before.
One of the coolest looking characters for a head sculpt is between him and the Fangor. Like, real nice.
Yep. Axel's sense of design for Motu is really, like, he really does a good job, in my opinion, of understanding how the Motu stuff should look. So when he creates a character, it's like he's really good at creating stuff that looks like it fits.
Right.
I mean, a lot of that is because, like when he was designing stuff, it was for classics, so he was going to have to reuse parts. But at the same time, there's still just a basic understanding of what Motu should look like that he nails every time.
Yeah, he gets it.
So really helpful that we get more of his. I know that there, several of the Snake Men characters he's designed are on the way. It would be really cool to get a few more of his original designs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with more Snake characters. I'm fine with either or. I'm also okay if the Origins line ended, because I've gotten more characters than I thought I would ever.
I don't think it'll be called Origins forever, but like the scale of it, the actual buck that they use.
Yes.
Like, I think they should you know, like at some point, all toy lines have to. I mean, that's why we're getting the cartoon collection. It's the origin scale. It's just not really quote unquote origins.
All good things come to an end.
Yeah. Everything.
Everything.
At some point, all things.
Well, I was thinking the cartoon line would be the, the Origins takeover or something.
Yeah. Well,
But then again, those are a completely different buck. They're not the same.
yeah. Well, I think some of that too is because they're licensing those characters.
Right.
You know, like they have to license some of the new stuff and they have to pay a royalty. So it makes sense to, and it's a way to get new parts into the Origins box. So,
Right.
there we go. Page went a lot faster.
Seeing Clifton too, he did his first paint custom, I think, and it was he showed me a hooded Cobra Commander. I thought it was really neat.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what the conspiracy is with that, but they don't seem to ever make the hooded Cobra Commander. Like,
There are two layers to it. Number one, the guy who made the movie, one of the guys who directed the movie, dislikes the look because it is very similar to one of the hoods that you wear if you're a member of the KKK in the United States.
Right.
So there is sort of that connotation, and because of that, Hasbro is probably a little gun shy about making a figure that could be misconstrued as being a member of the KKK at a time where hate crimes in the US are at an all-time high. So it makes sense from a business point of view. There are a lot of people who are like, well, it's not the exact same look. It's pretty close. Most people don't realize it's pretty close because it's not like your basic garden variety white hood. But there's a certain level, you know, like because there are layers in this type of organizations. There's a certain level where if you attain that level, that's what they call it regalia. That's what your regalia looks like. So I had a neighbor whose wife would dry his shit out on the clotheslines, and it was pretty similar. So I get it. It's not a time where you want to sort of play around with anything that could be seen as softening racial hate group. So anyway.
Yeah, especially this time, 2024.
Yeah, same Stanley. I definitely went Andra and I need to finish my Origins, my Originized Andra figure. She's about 45% done. So Pidge went really fast.
Did you finish coloring Pidge already?
I did, yeah. He went really quick.
Because I color so slow.
I don't, right? Like that's why when I have somebody on, I pick, pick 2 or 3 pages because it doesn't happen depending on the background. These go really fast because there's not a background on them.
Right.
But that's why I
draw a whole lot as backgrounds.
Yeah. Well, backgrounds, like sometimes you need a background, sometimes you don't. So, but we're also at like an hour and 44 minutes, so we don't have that much longer before my phone kicks me off and says it's time to go.
Oh yeah, I suppose I'm looking at my phone. It looks like I probably got about 30% left.
Yeah, that's about where mine is, and that's what the art happens on that phone. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna finish this one in 15 minutes, but I'm gonna get her on the table. I'll finish her after stream and stick her also up on Instagram.
Same with me. I can always just finish mine later.
I'm gonna save Hagar for a short. So
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Well, also, oh, and now I mentioned that off stream. So before we started So for people watching, I'm got some Voltron stuff that I'm planning for my channel. That'll be in a couple of different art styles, a couple of different video styles. So that I'm gonna use the Haggard that Adam drew just as sort of the short style I normally do. And then so that way that week isn't an entire week of complex, complicated Voltron content. Gotta keep it mixed up. Well, it takes extra production, and I hate editing. That's what I liked about
I do too, and that's the whole reason why I switched to live, because I hate all the video editing. But at the same time, I love doing thumbnails. Like, I could sit there and do a thumbnail for 30 minutes. I just love it.
I didn't like thumbnails at first, but now that I have figured out the software that I use and I am getting better with it, I'm enjoying thumbnails more. My thumbnails still need a little bit of work, but like I'm getting there. I'm finally finding.
Well, it took me like 2 years to get where I am with my thumbnails and the way that I wanted to do them, and I'm so glad that I kind of went with the whole revamped neon look for my logo, because it seems to fit in with the theme of black background with my thumbnails. So I'm like, man, I finally got my style, like, something that's unique to me.
Yeah. I like the little animated character that you have in your videos.
Yeah. That's all real time, right? So like it's I use character animators, so like when my lips move, it's the camera's moving.
Yeah.
It's all face recognition, right?
Oh wow.
I'm blinking. When I blink, the character blinks, etc., etc.
Oh, I didn't realize it was. That's cool. Like I didn't realize it went that deep.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Neat. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Actually Oz, I went live with Oz one time, like behind the scenes, and just doing some test runs and stuff. And he's like, "Man," he says, "this is really cool," and that's how I discovered it. Kind of neat.
It's really cool. I like the little animation, the little animations.
Yeah.
There we go. Make our eyes super blue for this one.
Kind of adding some of my own little details.
Oh wow, it's looking really good, Adam.
Good.
Yeah, I like the effect you have on the visor. So
Yeah.
That's sort of one of my challenges still, is like glasses and like sort of windows and like how to make them
look like they're kind of like reflective or lighter than they should be.
Yeah. Still figuring it out, but getting there. But I really like the way you did that.
I like the purple kind of details here, and I've added some black marks, kind of my own little details in there.
Yeah, that is a nice thing about sort of that hot pink color of her uniform, is that with shading you can get some really nice purple in there to like, and it looks good and it makes sense. Like purple is one of those colors that like just really sort of pops if you get the right shade of it.
Right.
And so
yeah, I'll do some G-Force if that's what you'd like to do next.
yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
I should search the characters because I'm not too familiar with it. I just like the style and I like the looks of the characters.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't remember a lot about the storylines or anything because it's been over 40 years. It was like the late 70s. early 80s. So over 40 years since I've watched it,
Right.
but that will be today's adventure after I finish. I have to do at least 3 hours of editing today. I was like, have my live stream with Adam, and then when that's done, I'm going to finish whatever picture I'm working on at the end of the live stream. And then I have to edit for 3 hours, and then I need to do one short
Right.
for Valentine's, and then after that, it's whatever I want. And I think I'm going to spend that whatever I want time today hunting down G-Force and Battle of the Planets, and so it would be fun to sort of deep dive into something like it's been a long time since I've deep dived into anything.
Yeah, I'll do some research on the characters and do some sketching. See what I can come up with.
We'll figure that out and plan it. And then at some point I'll have both you and Christina on. We'll figure out a way to make that work.
Yeah.
So she can join us since you guys are doing a regular stream. We'll let Christina pick something she wants to color for that one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then I can witness in real time you two banter, and I'll just sit back and watch and enjoy.
Yeah.
It was cracking me up so hard Friday when she was cracking on you. I was just like, that's hilarious. I love it, Christina.
Everybody thinks it's funny. Like, the funny thing is, that's not rehearsed or anything. We just do it.
Yeah, you should just have that fun dynamic. Not everyone has that kind of a dynamic, and some people that would be mean, and it would be awful. But the two of you, it's just really clear that it's like lighthearted, and you two are just have that sort of fun chemistry where it's like you two can sort of crack on each other without it being
that
you're terrible people. There's some people that would be like,
but we're not like necessarily serious.
Yeah, it's not who's afraid of Virginia Woolf, basically. So I don't know. It's just enjoyable. So yeah, we'll plan a G-Force day, and then we'll let Christina pick something. We'll make that happen, which is good. I like having 2 or 3 people sort of not even sort of set time, like a set day. I just like knowing that when it's time to sit down and start scheduling for a month, I can reach out to people and be like, hey, are you still wanting to do that thing?
Yeah.
And so that's a sort of fun thing about the Sunday one, but also the sort of, it's sometimes hard to coordinate schedules. So
yeah, I mean, especially with the time zones, because I know.
Yeah, people will notice, like if you ever notice that my live streams tend to have a lot of West Coast people, it's like it's really easy to coordinate West Coast stuff because we're all in the same time zone and
right.
But I try to, get. I've got. What's funny is I had a list of people I wanted to. When I decided I was going to do this and I was going to live stream, I had a list of 20 people that I wanted to ask to do this. And I was looking at that list on Friday, and I went through and crossed stuff off. And you were my 10th cross off. The 10th name I crossed off the list. I only have 10 left. And 3 of them I have scheduled. Not like a firm schedule, but we're planning right now when it's going to happen. So I've got 7 people left, and 3 of them are sort of pie in the sky, like your big dream, hope, wish.
Yeah.
So and those 3 are still a bit off, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah, at least I managed to finish it before the end of the stream.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Digital Diarrhea. Oh wait, yeah, that's his name. No, that's not his name. Or maybe it is. Okay, that's right. I forget that's not just a joke Lauren says. So, well, yeah, you're a little late. Better, like you said, better late than never. Hello.
Yep. For sure.
So anyway, there's a bit of excitement here because FedEx just delivered.
Ah,
So and they knocked on the door like they were the police. So
what arrived? Toys?
yeah, I think it's a strawberry shortcake chibi that I was missing. One of the characters I was missing. So we'll go find out in a few minutes because we
I love
are
stuff.
almost at that point.
I love to order stuff because it makes it feel like it's Christmas Day.
Yeah, I like whenever I get my pile of loot from Big Bag Toy Store because I let it sit and sit and sit until as much arrives as possible, and then it's like a big box of stuff.
Right.
Like that always is exciting. That definitely is always Christmas when it's like 15, 20, 30 figures come out at once. It's like, whoa, it's a lot. So, and then I don't open all of them until months later, so. But a lot of that will actually get open because I'm redoing my setup here so that I can have a more toy tube sort of background when I am on camera. It was like when you were mentioning today that it would be easier for the setup for it just to be your page on screen. I was like, that's perfect. So it's a mess over here. Everything's all over the place. I was like, nobody's going to see my background today. So I can work on getting shelves rearranged. So hopefully that'll be up. The way I'm doing it too, I'll have different sort of backgrounds depending on how I angle my camera. So that'll be fun.
Right.
All right.
It turned out pretty cool.
That looks really good. I'm going to put yours on the main screen really quick. Put you really quick solo layout so that everyone can see. It looks really good, Adam. I like it a lot. The mouse too. Like the I like that it looks like you used almost the same blue as you used for her visor.
Right.
So it has that looks very like it looks like a comic book cover to me. The way you've done all your shading looks really good. Excellent.
Pretty cool.
All right. No, that's not the one. All right, excellent. All right, there we go. All right. Had to figure out, I kept trying to kick you off screen. It's like, no, that's not the option, StreamYard.
Yeah.
And then, really quick, I did the two. I'm going to solo out. So I have not finished that one. Obviously, I just started it, but I did finish the pitch. That'll be on Instagram shortly. And then that was the Allura I did at the beginning. So then I got really artistic with all the shading and shadows and stuff. So that was fun. Anyway.
That's the part that I like the most, is the shading part.
Yeah, it's really fun to sort of, when Emily from Hasbro joined me for us Princess Leia pages, it was really fun because Carrie Fisher's favorite color is purple. So it was like, how many different shades of purple can I use to shade this picture? And I was really happy with how it came out. So that was a fun day. Because she like, like when she joined Hasbro, she was an art student. She did a competition and they really liked her and her husband. Oh gosh, I forget his name. But he for a while was the designer for G.I. Joe, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But anyway, it was really fun. And, because she had that art college background, it was really fun to sort of chat art stuff with her. But it was cool because I went to town with all the purples because I'm like, the art student lady will get it. And she did. So, all right. Excellent solo layout. All right. So we should wrap up just because it is like almost that time.
Yep.
It's true, Andrew. Andrew, I will be reaching out to you about another hangout, and we'll teach you to shade next time. So he's got his pencil crowns also. He's a fellow Canadian. So thank you,
Yeah.
Black Phoenix. Muchly appreciated. All right. Well, we hit the 2 hour mark, so we should wrap this up because both of our phones are about to die. All right, Adam, where can the people find you?
Well, I live on Instagram, so you can find me on Instagram, Radical Toys 79, and my YouTube channel, of course, is just Radical Toys. And those are the two places that you're pretty much going to find me. You might as well ignore Facebook and everything else because I don't use them.
And do you have anything coming up that people should be aware of?
Yep. Let's see. What are we? I don't even know what day of the week we are. We are Sunday, right?
Sunday.
So Wednesday is going to be the live unboxing for some more X-Men 97. So we're going to be doing Magneto because everybody voted him in next. And we do have an upcoming episode, me and Toy Mama, that we're going to be doing together. That it's something that I've been talking about a little while for the people that come on the channel. We're going to be taking a bunch of toys and we're going to be laying them out on the table, and it's basically all the toys that were donated to the channel. And what we're going to do is we're going to rad blast the shit out of everybody.
Oh, nice.
So it's going to be like a Rad Blast marathon. So if you guys want in on that, just you know, and you have a YouTube channel and you donated something to this channel or what have you, you're going to get Rad Blasted. So it's going to be a video for the community.
Awesome. That's like a lot of fun.
Yep.
We'll have to
plans.
I'll have to join. At least make sure I have it pulled up so I can listen along and listen to Christina and you banter. Okay. All right. Let's see. My main thing that I'm promoting right now, everyone. Wednesday, my first video in this series I'll be doing over the next year about Castle Grayskull comes out. It's called Castle Grayskull from Concept to Kid Stuff. And the end of the video has me doing the vintage Kid Stuff Castle Grayskull record, had black and white pictures on them, so I colored them. And then my boyfriend Matt dusted off his old radio voice and did a really dramatic 80s style reading of that book. So that'll be at the end of the video. And it's a brief history of Grayskull from the concept stage until that part, which is right before Filmation. And there'll be later Filmation Castle Grayskull video and then 2000X, etc. on down the line. But this is the first one, and it's exciting. So it'll be a premiere Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So join me for that. And then, as always, daily shorts. Next Sunday, I will be here at 11 a.m. and I'll be joined by Lawrence from A Punk with Toys for his second visit, and we're going to see how much he improved. Because last time he brought crayons. Crayons. I can't really say that. I'm from the South, so. But anyway, he brought them, and last time and this time he has a set of color pencils. So I'm gonna have Lawrence back regularly so we can watch his progress from the 24. I think he had the 100 box of Crayolas, but whatever. So we're gonna watch him as he dips his toe into artistry, and it'll probably be a shipwreck picture because we all know about how much he loves shipwreck. So. Anyway,
cool.
Really quick, I'm going to double check the chat. Thank you, Stanley. It was wonderful that you got to hang out today. And I'll chat with you. Like at some point, you should join me for a coloring. It's Christmas Day. Exactly, Mary. Thank you for joining today. Yep, and she says fantastic job, of course. Because Adam did amazing. All right. Well, I thank you all for joining us. It's been a lovely time. Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome.
Wait, let me do the official. I'm Allison Troy, Retro Toy Princess, and we're out.